There's something about Southside that draws people to it. Maybe because it has the largest number of bars per capita in the United States, or maybe we are conditioned to believe that Southside is the place to hang out on a Saturday night. Duquesne University student Shelby Wazel told us where she's likely to spend her free time.
Pretty frequently I'll go like downtown, like to the Point, because of like the space that it has. And then Southside has a lot to offer as well. Like with all the shops and, the works and things down there. Mostly downtown though.
She says it's harder to navigate the North Shore.
It seems a bit more broken up as opposed to Southside, because you could walk all the way down East Carson and there's so much to do. But when it comes to North Shore, it seems like it's harder to get from place to place because there's lots of museums, but there's not like a lot of sidewalks, and it doesn't feel quite as connected as Southside or downtown does.
Conchetta Staltari has been to North Shore, but she hasn't gone out there for a night.
If I go down there for like a music event or something like that, I never stay out there just because most of my friends would be in Southside and I'll meet up with them there, and also because it's more expensive to go out in the North Shore.
She is aware of the nightlife in North Shore, but she only knew about it when she was there late after an event.
Only after being exposed to it, like only being down there in the nighttime, and then I saw that there were a lot of people that were fancy and dressed up and going out. But I feel like it's not as youthful as the South Side. It's more adults that have more money to spend on going out. I did know it existed, I just never had the opportunity to do it.
With the Pirates back in season, the North Shore is getting business, but it still needs some help. It's not as likely to be a destination on a Saturday night. Instead, its bars and restaurants are places for people to gather before, during, and after games. Bar and floor manager Ryan Lewis at Mullins Bar and Grill says there are very few peak times for business, even during baseball and football seasons.
As far as baseball games, it's usually before. We do get a rush after the game, but it's not as substantial as the initial push at the beginning of the day. But as far as football games go, it's usually just before, and there's not pretty much anything after that.
Many people forget about or simply don't bother traveling to North Shore during the off times. This causes the business to suffer from October until baseball season starts up again. The football season tends to be slow only because games happen once a week, and that's if the Steelers are even home. Many of the businesses take a hard hit for nearly 6 months out of the year.
And what we do is we usually break it down to a skeleton crew. Most of the girls that work here know that, this is the season where you make money. When it's over, it's probably a good idea to have something to fall back on or find another job. If they do decide to go elsewhere and take the time off, we hold their job until they come back the following season. But 9 times out of 10, the majority of them that don't stick around and try to fight through the off season usually go somewhere else permanently. As far as our kitchen goes, we do the same thing. We break down to a skeleton crew, and we'll have 1 or 2 guys here a week all through the off season. It's pretty tough, for those that stick around during the off season, because it's hard to make ends meet, because we only have so much hours we can give out to everyone. But we try to find ways, to generate extra income for them doing other things besides cooking and things like that.
Evan Swanson, a bartender at the beer market, is one who has to get other jobs to make ends meet.
In this industry, typically you are going to be looking at multiple part-time jobs anyway, especially in Pittsburgh because there's so much competition. But especially over here on the North Shore, especially at a specialty brew pub like this, there's just not that much meat on the table to go around during the off season. They hire on so many different people for the season specifically that whenever the season is out, you really do need to have some other kind of income to make your bills.
Swanson says that customers have a very specific reason for why they visit.
Really, I think the location is very ideal for the sporting crowd. For people that come in here and get exposed to that, this is just kind of an auxiliary experience to them. You know, this is really something that they just see as a side event to the sporting event that they came here to see. So I don't think that it really registers as like a destination, a place to go for a lot of people. A lot of our business comes from people that are, I mean, it really is very location driven during the sports season. This particular part of the North Shore isn't that highly developed when it comes to those businesses yet either. So you'll see a lot of people that they'll come through, they'll have a great time, they'll, you know, have a rave review about it, but then there's just no context for them to come to this neck of the woods without this being a specific destination for them.
Just to give you an idea, this is what it looks like on an off night at the North Shore. We walked around PNC Park and ran into an occasional person from time to time. Lewis from Mullins says that people may associate North Shore with Northside, which does not always have a great reputation. That's why people may be afraid to visit. We found this not to be the case in our walk around because there weren't any strange people lingering. One thing we were surprised to find was that McFadden's had their music playing and they weren't even open. It even says on their website that they're open from 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. We got this video just before 11 p.m. We tried several times to interview them, but they did not want to go on camera. Bryce Murdiff is visiting and staying at one of the hotels nearby. He claims that because no one lives on the North Shore, that's why businesses struggle so much.
So I think one of the biggest things here, you know, you look at Pittsburgh in general, there's South Side, things like that, and there's a lot of people that live around there. And you look at the North Shore, it's pretty tough to get to. You know, obviously if you drive out here and you got to find a way back, whether it's taxi or if maybe a friend drives, something like that, you know how the nights go. Could be get a little crazy. You know, not necessarily everyone wants to drive out, and taxi can be relatively expensive. So I think that if something were more targeted to some areas where people live, maybe some of the townhomes, like whatever the case may be, general drop-off areas, if there were like just complimentary vans that would bring people out here, whether it was a stadium, you know, any of the bars, I think that would be extremely sufficient as far as getting people back and forth. Now, like I said, if there was a bus or a van, whatever, to take people out of here at 2 a.m., hell yeah, plenty of people they would hang out. They would be like, yes, this is what I want to do. I get an easy ride home. It's you know, cost effective, and I'm with all my friends. But you know, today I think that it makes it a little tough because of where we're located.
He believes that Southside is a better place just because people don't have to worry about driving home after a long night.
One of the main things is you get here and then it's kind of like, okay, what's my next step? No one lives here, so you can get a pretty expensive hotel room if you want, or that's about the other option. You get a taxi. It kind of takes a while to get back and forth. So that's my general thing. The reason I think that not a lot of people come out here and party or hang out, or whether it's a game, which is great, but like I said, at the end they still run the same processes. You know, if it's a game, then the hotels are booked pretty quickly. And you know, there's no one really here from the area that's going to stay here until 2 a.m. and hang out, because then what's the next step?
Bartenders and managers still have high hopes for the future of North Shore.
You know, it's a work in progress. All the businesses around here have been working to try to make that happen. Hopefully, I mean, I don't know what it's going to take for that to happen, because it's been years since all of these places have come up and since all the new developments have happened, and we still haven't seen that type of business generated where we can be a nighttime destination.
So when you're thinking about what to do this weekend, don't forget that there are other places across the river. Reporting for Duquesne Student Television, this is Jen Cardone and Addie Smith.